Hello friends, so the 6th step that you need to know to become an airline pilot. I really made them in steps so that you understand what each phase means in your pilot journey, to know what to expect before, during, and after your training. So the first one is a medical license, the second one is finding a flight school, the third one is going through your training, the fourth one is obtaining your license, the fifth step is getting a job interview, and the sixth one, which is the last one, is starting your first job. Alright, so first step is class 1 medical. If you're flying recreationally, then you just need a class 2 medical. Once you go through an aeromedical examiner and you pass the exam, they will check your physical fitness. You will obtain a license that looks exactly like this one. It's a paper format, and inside of it, you have your name, date of birth, nationality, date of issue, and the validity. So a class 1 medical is valid for 1 year, and it will be signed by the doctor who issued this license. Yeah, it looks like this one. All right, the second step is finding the right flight school. And to do that, you need to ask yourself 3 main questions. And asking yourself these questions is really important because you will narrow down your research and you become more efficient in your research. Because if you don't do that, remember, it's like when you go for a restaurant with your friends and you're limited on a budget. The first thing that you do when you're looking for a restaurant, you narrow down your budget, and then the app will give you the restaurant that you can afford with that budget. So it's exactly the same thing when you're looking for a flight school. You need to know what is your budget, to know what are the schools that the map will allow you to go to. Now, once you know your budget, you can get that amount through a bank loan, through family funding, friends, if you have saved some money from your previous job. All of these questions can help you know how much money you can collect to do your pilot training. Once you know how much money you have, now it's time to choose what kind of flight school that you can go through. Now you can ask yourself the second question, which is, what are my options? And basically the options would be what country you can go to, what are the flight schools that you can afford, and which training you would choose from. All of this you can put them, or all these options you can put them in your list. And once you know all of this, then you can move on to the third question, which is, which one suits me best? And really, to answer this question is very subjective because every individual would have different circumstances. But to give you an example, to make it simple, a person that can afford both of them through a bank loan, like the most expensive one and the least expensive training, the one that will cost 100,000 euros and the other one will cost 60,000 euros. Now comparing both, one would finish, or if you choose the first one that's most expensive or more expensive, you will finish in a lesser time and the other one will take you a bit longer. So knowing that you can have more loan, you will finish in a shorter time, but then you will end up with a higher loan to pay off. Or you would pay for one that costs a bit less, you finish in a longer time, but then you have less money to pay off. So these are things you would need to consider, even that you can afford both of them. Know what are the things that are waiting for you after you have finished your loan and you need to start paying it off when you start working. So the third step is your training journey. And now, depending on what are the options that you chose from, the country, the flight school, the types of training, that will decide the structure of your training. But if you want to know more information about what to expect during your flight training, the amount of hours that you're going to fly, what are the exams that you can expect, then I will leave the link on my description of the video that I made on how to become a pilot. That will explain in detail everything. All right, step number 4 is obtaining your license. Now, once you have your license, you can apply for an airline. Some people choose not to apply for an airline. They can become a skydive pilot or fly in general aviation, become an instructor. But I think if you have the option to become an airline pilot and you have a loan, then probably it's wiser to become an airline pilot so that you can pay off that loan as quick as possible. So your license will look like this. Basically, it will have information such as the issuing authority, your credentials, your license number, what type ratings you hold. So a license will be valid for 1 year, and every year you would need to do a skills test to keep it valid. So you would need the license and the medical, they go together. This one, the license without this one, is not valid. So you would need to carry them all the time with you to make them both valid. All right, step number 5 is the interviews. You have worked really hard to reach this phase. So you want to make sure once you are in this phase, you are fully prepared because you don't know when is the next interview is going to come. So the first one that you get, make sure you ace it. And to do that, because the training was very condensed, you do get the chance probably to grasp everything. And now it's the time to expand more your knowledge, be more curious, add extra layers on top of that to keep that knowledge solid. Also know more information about the airline that you're applying for, how to prepare for that airline, because every airline would have different assessment markers on how to grade a pilot. If you want to know more information on how to prepare for an interview, then I will probably make a video to explain on how to do that and how to be fully prepared and how to ace an interview. But make sure that when you go to an interview as well, to single yourself out from the crowd, because remember, everyone is looking for that job and the interviewers will be doing, I don't know how many interviews per day, they will be hearing the same thing over and over again. So make sure when it's your turn to single yourself from the crowd by making them curious and also grasping their attention. And you can do that. There is many ways by being fully prepared and using the right words. So the last step is your first job. Now that you have passed the interviews, secured your first job, now you're hired as a second officer, as a first officer. Regardless, you'll be doing a type rating and the line training. And so all of this will be new for you. You'll be exposed to a complex aircraft and to a new type of operation or line operation. Now it's time to do more effort than ever and be proactive, because the information will be coming at you and it will be coming really fast. Try to do things as early as you can so that you have more spare mental capacity to grasp the information that's coming at you. If I can give you one advice on knowledge, imagine it as a bucket of water that has a hole in it. If you stop putting water in the bucket, then the bucket will empty. Water can be replaced by knowledge. The knowledge works exactly the same way. A bucket of knowledge, the more knowledge you put, it will keep leaking. The moment you stop, the bucket of knowledge will be empty and you find yourself without any knowledge. That's how it works. Keep it fresh, keep it coming all the time. That's how we can keep up with your knowledge while you're flying. And that's it for all the 6 steps. But to summarize, first thing that we spoke about is obtaining your Class 1 medical. After you do that, now you go through the process of finding a flight school and going through your training. Once you finish your training, you would end up with a pilot license, which looks like this one. And with this one and this one, you apply for job interviews. After you apply for job interviews and you get your first job, the pilot license will have a type rating on it, which will be valid for 1 year. So for this license to be valid, you would need a medical license next to it, and you would need to validate these every year. I really hope that this video was helpful. Don't forget to give a thumbs up, leave me a comment, tell me what are the questions that you might still have, and don't forget to subscribe and share it with your friends. Until the next one, stay safe.